Hey everybody, this is Nuno with the Invictus Endurance, and we're covering some shoulder mobility. People might think, shoulder, why is that important when you run? Well, think about it. Our shoulders are doing this the entire time when we run. So the shoulder joint's actually moving quite a bit. And most of us, if you're anything like me, what do? You carry all the stress in your shoulders. So typically one of the most common mistakes I see when people are running is like their shoulders are just jacked. Trying to get people to relax their shoulders down, depressed, and just getting them to relax as much as possible. A couple drills, mobility, just things to use in terms of recovery. I like using a band. This one's pretty thick. I would say you probably need to go a little bit thinner band. I'm gonna wrap my hand around the band, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go behind my back, and then I'm gonna bring that band here, and what you'll see is I actually have my hand assisting here, and then what I could do is I can pull away and just trying to get that shoulder to sit down and back as much as possible. Again, if I let go of the band, you can see now this shoulder is doing a lot of the work. But if I want to, and if I'm able to, I can actually assist it by just utilizing my other hand in order to just grab that band and just pull it down and back, nice and simple. I want to hang out here maybe for about a minute or two, just to get my shoulders to relax and get the shoulder retracted as much as possible. That's one of the things I like. The other thing I like to do is just nice and simple, just bring the band to the shoulder and then push forward, and nice and simple. Again, we're trying to get that shoulder to roll back so it doesn't roll forward as you get tired. Pretty similar, I would say, is when you start getting tired, you start hunching over. So the more we can get your shoulders to sit back, the better. So that's the banded stuff that I would recommend. One, behind your back, and then two is just a banded pull back where the band is right at the shoulder. I also like using the yoga tune-up balls. If you don't have one of these, no big deal. Just use a lacrosse ball or a softball. That works just as well. A couple things I like to do. One is make sure that my pecs are nice and loose. So I'm going right into the insertion point where the pec attaches to the shoulder, and just making sure that I create a little bit of movement to just make sure my joints are nice and mobile, flexible, and I'm able to go through like all the ranges of motion that I need to. So that's for the pec, but then I can also go, and this is probably my favorite one. A rack is going to be a little bit harder. I would say use a wall if you need to. I'm just using a rack here for demonstration purposes, but you can see what I'm doing. Again, right at this trap, again, I try to relax my traps as much as possible when I'm running. So I'm putting the yoga tune-up ball right at that attachment point where the trap, and you'll usually feel it. It's a little bit tight right in there, and you can see I'm just kind of rolling around here, hanging out here, and I usually try to spend at least a minute here. Trust me, you're gonna wanna use a clock, because after like 30 seconds, you're like, oh, it's been a minute. No, like literally, I look up at the clock and I just hang out here for a minute, and then what will I do? I'll switch over to here for a minute, and then I'll do the same thing on the other side. I'll go for a minute right in here, and then I'll go for a minute right in here, and then that takes me to about 4 minutes. I can get this done in less than 5 minutes. This I usually like doing after I ran. Why? Because my muscles got super tight while I ran. So ideally I want to try to loosen them up as much as possible. Again, so that I'm nice and free and able to recover and able to get back into training and stay nice and healthy. That's your shoulders. If you got any questions, email me, nuno@crossfitinvictus.com.